All right, looks like we are live. Sweet.
Yay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live edition of the Give 'em Heck podcast. I'm Brian. This is your host, Penny. And I'm very interested for this one because I don't, as everyone knows, I never read notes. I don't know anything of the episode specifically. I literally just,
Oh, yep.
you do that every time. Listen, I don't like hearing myself talk. But I'm interested on this episode due to the title. So yeah, if you want to start your introduction, we can get this going because I'm interested.
All right. So I just want to say sorry to you. Again, I just want to say welcome to all of our regular viewers and to any new viewers. And please feel free to chat in at any time. Let me get my thing here set in case anybody chats. That would be great. Let us know you're here. Put in a little emoji or something just to let us know that you are.
Make some noise.
Make some noise. Oh, good. Hi, Aunt Sandra. Hi, Surrey. How are you guys doing tonight? I love this. Please feel free to comment at any time. We love to hear questions and comments from you guys. It's awesome. So the first thing, I got some students coming in there. They're all saying hi, G. I love this. So I'm going to start with our disclaimer, like I always do, that we're not doctors, psychologists, or counselors. We're not given any medical or psychological advice. We're just simply here to discuss real life situations to give hope, encouragement, and instill change.
Yep.
And tonight,
I want to
move my mic away. Am I a little loud?
You sound a little loud on my end. I don't know if anybody in the chat wants to confirm with that.
Yeah,
she sounds a little loud.
If I sound too loud, let me know. Or Brian,
it could just be my feedback.
Yeah, just let us know if you can't hear Brian enough, or maybe I'm too loud. Okay, I'm used to having to project my voice because when I'm teaching.
Yeah, exactly. When you have that public speaking voice.
Yes, you have to be loud and assertive. So, okay, we're good. See, I know you guys noticed that the name of our podcast tonight is Acceptance, Approval, and Affirmation Through Love. And our last two podcasts and I don't know if anybody has had a chance to go see, but the last two that we had, the first one was on love. And then the second one was unconditional love. And we talked about the two differences in those.
Yep.
And we're going to kind of work off of that tonight. So our last episode, again, was unconditional love. And unconditional love qualities, I'm going to read those again, are empathy, patience, kindness, respect, acceptance, and emotional support. Value open communication and accepts you at your best and your worst. Makes you feel safe expressing your insecurities and sharing mistakes without fear or judgment or fear of judgment. Unconditional love celebrates your success without jealousy.
Yep.
And I had given 7 signs of unconditional love. So I'm going to read those, but do you have anything you want to add to that right now?
Not currently.
We're good? Okay. And if anybody wants to throw in a chat, something you want to say at any time, do that. We love to hear. So 7 signs of unconditional love. Number 1, accepts you at your best and worst. So they listen with empathy and offer reassurance. Celebrate your best moments without envy or comparison. See your worth beyond temporary circumstances. Number 2, support your growth without trying to change you. Even if your choices don't align with their interests, they respect your right to grow. Yep. They love you for who you are, not for who they think you should be.
Yep.
Number 3, prioritize emotional connection over personal gain. They invest in emotional intimacy, like deep conversations, shared dreams, or moments of vulnerability, because that connection is what truly matters. Number 4, forgive and work through conflicts instead of walking away. Recognize that forgiveness and compromise are essential to maintaining a healthy bond. Number 5, their love isn't dependent on circumstances or convenience. Offering emotional and practical support because their love is based on commitment rather than convenience. Number 6, respects your individuality and boundaries. Respecting boundaries is a form of trust and love. one that shows their interest in your happiness as an individual. Number 7, they celebrate your happiness even when it doesn't benefit them. Unconditional love means being genuinely happy for success, even if it doesn't involve it doesn't involve or directly benefit them. Their happiness comes from seeing you thrive, and they take pride in celebrating your wins without envy or self-interest. The kind of love where you feel fully accepted, flaws, quirks, and all. And in that, Brian, I don't know if you remember last week, but I asked you, do you think there's a difference between love and unconditional love?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I remember correctly in last week's episode, I gave the example of like how true unconditional love, has no, it's almost supernatural the way I would describe it.
I love that.
Because it goes beyond just physical, it goes beyond just family or friends, or it goes far beyond it.
It does.
Yeah. Now, do I think that the irony, and I mentioned this last week, and I do want to touch, or not last week, the week before, I do want to touch a little bit on it, because I actually had some people messaging me that were a little confused about what I meant, because I made the comment that unconditional love does have limitations in the physical sense.
Okay.
Because there are some things that people, I believe, can do to forfeit that love.
Okay.
Now, I mean that on a personal level.
Okay.
Okay. Because if you have a situation where, and I said this to you, of like, if I did something, I would hope that it would forfeit the unconditional love that you would give me as your son. And I know you could probably think, what on earth could you possibly do? That love is going to be there forever. I can think of things.
You talked to me about that.
Yeah, I can think of things. And I'll say it again for the context of the live. There are things that I can think of in my head that this platform will not allow me to say.
Right.
But unconditional love does have, I wouldn't say a limitation, I would almost call it conditions. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. Because like I said, it's very easy to look at someone, like a family member or your partner, and say, my love for you is unconditional. I say that's more of a love on character as opposed to a love on action.
Okay.
Like, because there are things that a person can do where I think that love can be cut off. And I would hope, because again, based on the examples that I think of, because I'm a very deep thinker.
You are.
And when I think unconditional love, personally, I believe in something spiritual in regards to that.
Okay.
I don't think it physically. I don't think it like you loving me as your son or me loving my partner as my lover. There are limitations. There have to be limitations, conditions, so to speak, to forfeit that. But I believe, excluding the bad, okay? Let's just remove the bad out of it.
Okay.
I do believe that a genuine human being can have the capacity to love somebody beyond their flaws.
Okay.
Everyday flaws. You know what I mean? Like, let's say I don't know, I'm trying to think of something. Let's say they have emotional issues. And when I say like they're very emotional.
Okay.
I can still show empathy and unconditional love for that individual despite the swaying from the norm, so to speak. That's where I think the line can be drawn when it comes to like where love can go. Because to me, that kind of love, it looks past their flaws.
Right.
It looks at them as a person.
So you look at it from, okay, because I remember I asked you, do you think you can love everyone unconditionally?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said no.
Right. And so you look at it when you say no, is that?
I think very broad terms.
Yeah, like it's wide for you.
Yeah.
Because you think that people can be loved unconditionally, but you also think that when the limitations are there, it depends on the situation. Is that kind of what I'm saying?
And that's why I kind of changed it from limits to condition.
Okay.
It's like going beyond a border. Like if you have some property, you can say, You can go anywhere on this property, anywhere, right to the bitter edge. But if you cross that line, you're no longer in.
Okay.
That's where I'm saying it's conditions of limit. How would I word that a little better? Actually, it's like the limit is the conditions. Like, I will love you unconditionally until blank.
Okay.
And I think it's healthy to do that, because if you tell somebody that you're going to love them no matter what, there are some people in this world that will take advantage of that and say,
Right.
oh, well, I can steal from them and they'll always forgive me because they love me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It can go both ways. And I think that's kind of the thing that I focus on a lot in our podcast episodes, is the idea of being complacent with evil.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm, as you're talking, I'm just thinking about where I stand with this.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm kind of on the same page with you in this part of it, is that, so I think for me, and we've both talked about our spirituality as far as where we stand, right? We believe in God, that type of thing. So here's where I stand with it, is that, yes, I think you can love everyone, but can you love everyone unconditionally? Well, I think the only person that can love everyone unconditionally all the time is God.
Yeah. Well, it's even implied in the word, right? Unconditionally.
Right.
That's why I said it has to be something more than just like an unconditional love for a family member. Because to me, in the physical existence that we are in, regardless of whether or not you believe in God, I'm talking about just you staring at another human being. I can think of hundreds of examples as to why love for that person would get cut off at a certain point. Conditions. Unconditional. How can it be unconditional when I can think of conditions that can be that can sever
That's
it?
what I'm saying. I think God is the only one that can love people unconditionally.
Yeah.
Now, your love for people can go into different levels.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I don't love you the way I love your father. I'm not going to love you or your dad the way I'm going to love, like, my Aunt Sandra, who's on here tonight, or my students. You know what I mean? Everybody is loved at a different level.
Yeah.
But
there are levels, degrees, and conditions within the word love that it can't just be a blanket term.
Right. And I mean, I know we should try to love everyone.
That's why I don't use the word love when I'm talking to my friends. Like, I don't typically say, I love you, man. I don't typically do that. I typically go, I empathize with you.
Okay.
Because that opens up beyond just a, oh, I love you no matter what. It's more of like, I see your situation and I empathize.
Right.
Because I've either gone through it or I know someone else who has. Because again, it can't be used as a blanket term. I do not believe that we as human beings can look at another human being and say love is unconditional.
Right.
And I'm not trying to be argumentative. Would I like that to be the case? Yeah, of course. But there are evil people in this world that do bad things that I do not think have deserved the capacity to be loved. Now, I'm not saying a person can't do a bad thing and not be forgiven.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, because I was going to go there. Where does forgiveness fall in place now?
It all starts with accountability. Like, I could do if you could think of the most heinous thing on earth. If I own up to it in a not proud, like, yeah, I did that, but more in a, yeah, I did. And I accept the responsibility of my actions. And I will take 100% accountability for it. To me, that's a person that you can look at and say, they can be forgiven, but there are still consequences.
Right.
Justice, judgment, whatever you want to call it. It's like, again, it's like, let's use the aspect of like a family. If you have a kid who you've told countless times to not run in the living room.
Okay. Yep.
They start running in the living room when you're not around, and they break something, knock the TV over or something. Now, you have two scenarios with that, and neither of them have to do with, oh, well, I just don't love them after that. It's an example. You can either console them, which To me, consoling a child when they do something wrong, to me, tells them that, oh, if I do something wrong, I can get away with it again.
Right.
Or you can discipline. Now, there are different degrees of discipline.
Okay.
But for me, if you have a child that does something wrong, you pull them aside and be like, there's consequences to this, because I've told you countless times to not do this, and you did it anyway.
Right.
So I'm going to take you into your room, and I'm going to take all of your electronics away. I'm going to lock the door, and you're going to stay in there for 6 hours, and you're not going to do anything.
Right.
That's a level of discipline. It's a consequence. And then after they deal with the punishment, then you're like, will you do that again?
Right.
And they're like, no, I'm sorry, I did that. That's accountability.
Right.
And you teach them accountability.
Right.
It's the same thing with adults. If they do something wrong and they show no sympathy for what they did, that's where I think the cutoff is.
Okay.
Now, I'm just using the kid as an example, but you see my point.
Right.
To me, it's exploded even more with adults, because adults should know better, right? Children can have responsibility for their actions by giving them a disciplinary action, but with an adult, you can't do that with adults. Because then it opens up the door to, oh, well, I can do it again and get away with it.
Right. Well, we talked about that, tough love.
Tough love, exactly.
Right. Just because, like, I love you, you know that as my son, but just because you, okay, I shouldn't say it that way. When you do something wrong, right? And I just want to say hi, Michelle. When you do something wrong, being the parent that I should be, I'm going to show you tough love by disciplining you, because I want to raise a person, a human being, my son, to respect himself, respect others, have integrity, those types of things. So if I just allow you to act a certain way, my goal is to not have an idiot for a son. I want you to be an asset to life. I don't want you to be an ass in life.
It's a good way to put it.
You know what I mean?
It's true, though.
So the thing is how are you going to know these things if I don't discipline you? And you can say, well, if I show you tough love, you can't look at me as a mother and say, well, and I know kids do this, you don't love me then. No, if I didn't discipline you, that means I don't love you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing, is like, for me, and because I agree with that statement, the idea that forgiveness equals forgetting. And I've had friends that do this to me, is that they think that if I forgive them for what they do, they'll subconsciously think it's okay to do it again, because they'll repeat what they do. If I don't, here's a good example, actually, to kind of drive the point home. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was going through a similar situation. And he's like, every time this person comes to me and says that they're sorry for something that they did when they know it hurt me, I always used to just say, it's fine, don't worry about it, stuff like that.
Right.
And then they would do it again. So then I said, you know what you're going to do the next time they do it? And he said, what? I said, don't tell them it's fine or it's okay or whatever. Tell them apology accepted. And I'm like, and he's like, why? And I said, because if you tell them apology accepted, it gives not a subconscious, but like, it has an undertone of, what you did was wrong and I did not appreciate it, but I accept your apology. It's forcing them to have accountability. Because if I just say, it's okay, it's just rolled off the back.
Right.
And then they think they can just go back to normal. But if I say apology accepted, it's like, for me, if somebody said that to me, I would think, how many more times can I get away with this?
Right. Right.
Now, of course, it probably wouldn't work for everybody, but again, it's an example, and so far it's worked.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And like I was saying, and that kind of goes back to the tough love thing, right? Because sometimes people get reprimanded or corrected or whatever discipline you want to use, and people can tend to have like the person that got hurt, right? They tend not to want to forgive, or even if they do forgive, they don't forget. Well, it doesn't mean that you forget just because you forgive. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But it's important to show tough love sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's also important to forgive, but that doesn't mean that you forget, but you shouldn't hold resentment.
Yeah.
That's where that fine line is, right?
Yeah. It's almost like because as a Christian, we're always told to forgive and forget. I think there's context behind that we're missing. Because the thing is, for somebody who forgives and forgets, it oftentimes will lead to the exact same situation happening again.
Of course.
And when I think forgive and forget, I don't think like it means forgive and just move on. I
Mhm.
think it's forgive and forget what that person specifically did to you, but don't forget the circumstance that led to it. Because I think it'd be very ignorant to just act like nothing happened.
Right.
But I think that also has a lot to do with acknowledgement. Because it's not a forgive and forget. Like, let's say you hurt me, right?
Okay.
You did something to harm me.
Mhm.
And from the context of what I just said of forgive and forget, I do that inadvertently. I say, I forgive you and let's move on. It's more of like, I will only forgive you if you take accountability.
Mhm.
And then if you take the accountability,
Mhm.
that's when I forget.
Right.
Because it shows that you are taking responsibility.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that a mistake won't happen again. It
Right.
just means that in that particular moment,
Mhm.
you came to me
Mhm.
and you owned up.
Right. Yeah, because some people are not sorry for what they do. They're sorry they got caught. And there's a big
And that's
difference.
why I'm a big advocate for accountability. And
Mhm.
this is why I never, if I do something wrong, I'm never the victim. I never try to play the victim. I never try to say, well, I did it because of this reason. No, if I do something wrong, I'm gonna be not an integral. What's the word? I'm gonna be an accountable individual, and I'm gonna own up.
Mhm.
Because number one, I will not be able to live with myself knowing that I hurt somebody, and I just didn't care.
Mhm.
Because what does that say about me?
Mhm.
You know?
Right. Right. And Maine Mickey said accountability is becoming a rare trait. Wow, you are not kidding. Well, um, it most certainly is. So isn't what's the other thing that I'll try to think of it in a minute. Kind of slipped my mind. But yeah, accountability. Because people, well, and I think the reason why people don't want to take accountability is because they prefer to play the victim.
There's a lot of victim mentality in today's world. And I'm not saying that some people
Aren't a victim.
aren't.
Right.
Yeah. But
Right.
it's like, I'll give you a good example. I watched a live stream of a debate.
Mhm.
It was funny. It was I can't remember which generation. I think it was Gen Z.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think they're the ones that are all in their 20s right now. And if anybody's watching, it's in their 20s. I'm not pointing you out because I talk crap about my generation all the time.
Mhm.
But it was a Gen Z individual versus a veteran on who has more trauma. And because you hear about that a lot in
Yeah.
today's world, right? Like, I have trauma, and I'm not saying there isn't trauma there, but it's funny to me how she went through this little list of all the things that went wrong in her life. Like, her boyfriend broke up with her, and she had some injuries that were very traumatic to get over and all this stuff. And when I say injuries, I'm talking about like things we could get every day, like she broke her finger at work or something.
Right.
But then when the veteran stood up and he talked about all the things that happened on the battlefield,
Oh,
she literally by the end of it was like, I'm a little uncomfortable now.
right.
And I'm thinking to myself, who has the right to be the victim here?
Yeah. We've all suffered somehow in different levels, right? Like you said, it's not to say that no one's been a victim.
Yeah.
But you often say this, Brian, and I love what you do, and you say is that you won't allow yourself to be the victim, but you also look at a situation that's happened to you, whether it be tragedy or trauma, and you try to turn it around for good. And I think that is what's important, is that, yeah, we've all been victimized. We've, had trauma, tragedy in our life, but I get that. And we're not trying to diminish that in any way, but It's like I tell my students, you have to turn your situations around to find good in them. Like I always tell them, I want good energy around me, right? So if you come to G, I don't want to hear that you're having a bad day. I want to hear how your day is going to be good. Because the first thing I say to them when they come in the classroom in the morning is, how's your day going? And some of them, at that point, they'll say, well, I'm having a bad day. Well, we've been here 10 minutes. How can that be? You know what I mean? And others will come in and they're having a fantastic day. And I'm like, that's great. We've been here 10 minutes and you already have an awesome attitude. So really what I tell them is, it's here. It's your mindset that's going to get you through the day.
Yeah.
If you want to have a bad day, believe me, friend, you will.
Yeah.
I know things happen.
Well, it's like
no one's diminishing that.
Yeah. And it's even like I've said in other episodes, everybody wakes up in the morning with the intention of having a good day, but know that something bad might happen. And how you respond to it.
How you respond to it
is how it will determine whether or not it stays a bad thing or not. And even in the context of like, how can I turn, there was a phrase I heard in a song. In the chorus, I think it said, and I watched the storm roll in and turn graves into gardens again.
Wow. Yeah, well, we've talked about that. Nobody likes a storm in their life. I get it. Nobody wants a bad day. I get it.
Yeah.
But you got to, you had mentioned one time about a forest fire. It's a horrible thing. Yes, I get it. But look at what comes out of it after.
Yeah, plants become a lot more green, the ground is more fertile. Yeah. Tragedy is temporary, recovery can be everlasting.
Wow, that's good. I didn't raise an idiot.
Oh, no, you did.
Well,
I have my moments.
When Maine Mickey said accountability is becoming a rare trait, I often say to my students that common sense is a superpower.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because the thing is, in today's world, you don't have idiots. You know what you have? You have the unaccountable. And that's the thing I say when I say, we become complacent with evil, is that how can I express empathy, compassion, love, all of these things? How can I attribute it to somebody who is not willing to see the bigger picture, who is not willing to look past themselves and just take accountability for the wrong things they do? How many times, our viewers, how many times have you gotten into a situation where you're going down the road and somebody flicks you off for no reason? And it's like, why? What happened to you? And why are you taking it out on me?
Right.
It's like, that's
who
the thing.
Hurt you?
Yeah, who hurt you? And I could say, well, what would I do in that situation? Yeah, what would you do? When I'd see it, I wonder, but I don't dwell on it. I don't typically go out of my way unless something very drastic happens. And I can think of an example that happened recently when we went down to South Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That was an example of, like, I think, justified rage.
Oh, that was bad.
But in the case of, like, your average road rage experience, what's better? If somebody flicks you off and you just ignore them, or you throw a middle finger back at them? I would say ignoring. Yeah. Like, if that person's having a bad day, I'm sorry for you, but I'm not going to feed into your self-hatred.
What's the sense in it?
Yeah.
I don't know, what happens in people's personal lives, but I think as a whole, Brian, I think life in general, something's been lost. I mean, there is no accountability. There is no common sense. There is no integrity. I don't know where it all went. I think
it's all in how people were raised. I think there was a generation that grew up that just stopped caring.
Why? There's got to be a reason.
Laziness, selfishness, like, oh, I'm just going to do what makes me happy.
That's sad.
Yeah. And it is, because look what it's turning society into. It's so funny to me how people, they cry and complain about how bad the world is, but they don't want it to change. They just stay the same. Change starts with you, you know? I know you could say, well, what impact could I have? Yeah, well, that raging forest fire didn't think about that with one little spark that started it,
Oh, wow. Okay.
you know?
Hmm.
And I'm not talking about, trying to spread an idea of, I'm not trying to start a hippie movement, you know? I don't believe that. I think what we need to do is have a rising up of people who are willing to say, take accountability for your actions, stop spreading hate,
Hmm.
stop spreading selfishness, stop thinking about yourself,
Hmm.
put others first.
Hmm.
I don't care, like, an example of like my friend group, you know, the thing is we value each other's opinions even when we don't agree.
There's another thing that's lost today.
Yeah. Like I literally have one of my friends, he does not agree with me on almost anything. But you know the one thing he told me? He said, "Brian, I do not agree with you on this, but I would lay my life down for you."
Respect, friend. There it is. Well, like Aunt Sandra just said here, um, and again, it goes back to forgiveness, right? We can forgive, but have boundaries around us. It's called having self-government.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
So
think
yeah.
that's kind of like what you're saying. We can agree to disagree, and there has to be boundaries, and all of those things are important. And we can forgive each other. So there is forgiveness, there is respect, there is those type of things with boundaries.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're going to have to take yourself maybe out of a situation,
Yeah.
and that's okay to do that. And I'm going to continue because this kind of leads into this next section here. It says many people misunderstand what unconditional love truly means. And I'm going to read you some common myths of that.
Oh.
Mm.
Mm.
I piqued your interest. So, some common myths of, let me make sure I'm on the right page here, of unconditional love is that it means accepting toxic behavior. Unconditional love doesn't mean tolerating disrespect, abuse, or harmful actions, but are essential to boundaries.
Isn't that what I said about not being complacent?
It is. Here's another one, that you should always feel happy. Even in unconditional love, disagreements and difficult moments are natural. It's not about being happy 24/7. Now, here's the thing with that. You don't have to be happy 24/7, but you don't have to make everybody around you miserable 24/7 just because you are.
Yeah.
Get yourself in check. Check yourself at the door. If you have to stay in your own lane, stay in it till you fix yourself, but don't spread that.
Yeah.
I don't want your negative energy around me. That's the thing when I was trying to say, like, with how I am with my students, it's about your mindset. I'm not expecting you to be happy and hopping around 24/7. That's not realistic. But if you are having a bad day or a bad moment, take some time for yourself. If that's what you need to do, fix yourself and then get back in the game.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's unrealistic to think that you're happy 24/7. Also, it requires sacrificing your own needs. Not true. Loving unconditionally doesn't mean neglecting your own well-being for the sake of relationship. If somebody is doing that to you, that is known as control.
Exactly.
The next one. It never changes over time. Well, it does. Some believe that love should stay the same forever, but it evolves as people grow. Now, here's the thing. That can be good and that can be bad, right? Because people can grow more in love, but people can grow out of love.
Yeah.
Because people change, right? Example, and I've said this to you before. What was important to me in my 20s, now being in my 50s, my priorities are different because life changes.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that everything you loved then you shouldn't love now and vice versa. I mean, like your dad, for instance. I think we love each other more now than we did when we got married in our 20s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there are even like things that I did back then for hobbies and stuff that today I would care less about doing.
Yeah.
Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. You have to love without effort. Your dad. Unconditional love isn't automatic. It's built through empathy, patience, and shared experiences over time. So it takes effort to love.
It does. And I think that's the one reason why a lot of people don't.
Oh, okay. I'm going to ask you to expound on that.
I think it's a lot easier to be hateful, because when you have someone that tries to show love constantly and you don't get it back, because that's the thing. Love is one of those things that almost requires a reward, you know? Like,
Should
I know
it?
you could say, well, no, I did a nice thing today because I care about a person and I don't need anything back. You do that with a bunch of people that don't give you any kind of recognition or give you any kind of gratitude for an X amount of time, and tell me how you feel by the end of it. But yet, if you're hateful and you're solitary and you show no concern or empathy for anybody, it almost makes you feel like you're the only one that matters. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I think it's easier logically to hate. And when I say hate, I don't mean like cause harm kind of hate. I'm talking about like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't like anybody. I just want to be by myself. Now, both can be damaging over time, because you get the person that hates for a long period of time, they almost age faster.
Absolutely. I've seen it.
They age faster, their emotions dry out faster, and they become shriveled up. It's literally a momentary thing. Love takes a long time to wear on you when it's not given back. But hatred is easy in that moment. But then the longer you live in it, it's like going downhill. It speeds up quick and it catches up to you. And before you know it, I've seen people my age, in their 30s, that look twice as old as I do, but they are some of the most hateful and miserable people you'll ever meet.
But you're not saying if you love someone and you, I'm asking you.
I'm talking about a very specific thing, and it goes into what you said about just not getting anything back. It's all about knowing who to give it to.
Okay, because I was going to say, I hope you don't love people because you think you're going to be loved back, because some people are just not going to love you.
Well,
Sorry.
I'm talking about, and like I said, I'll reiterate, giving love to people that don't give anything back.
Okay.
Because it's almost like you're feeding something.
Okay, because I don't want anyone to think that you love someone to get something.
No, I would call that a narcissist.
Okay. Okay.
It's just you hide it under the false pretenses of, do it for me. You want to. I'll be nice to you until
you're not.
Until I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe a narcissist wasn't a bad example, but you know what I mean. There are degrees, and I think that as an individual, you need to realize who you give love to. Friends, family, people that actually care about you. But you talk to some random person on the street, and if they show no compassion or empathy for you when you give everything to them, think of it like giving a homeless person some food, right? If you give them some food and they don't give you any sense of gratitude, they just take your food and eat it and walk away. How do you think that's going to make you feel? And you could say, well, I did a nice thing. I don't care what they think. You keep doing that, it'll wear on you.
It will. Yeah.
But then you have somebody who genuinely,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you see it.
Guard your heart, friend.
Yeah, thank you.
Guard your heart.
Don't allow people to take from you.
Advantage.
Take advantage of you. Don't let people take from you.
Yeah, because you matter too.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do all the nice things in the world, but you matter too at the end of the day.
And then you'll become that person of, I did everything right. Why do I deserve this?
Right.
There's a level of control with both sides, but one can definitely my opinion, hate is easier, but it's more damaging.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, because anything emotional will eventually affect your body. And I know that because when I lost mom and dad, and we've talked about this on other podcasts, the emotional part of it um, was destroying me to the point where the grief was so heavy and so much that it was starting to physically affect me to the point where I was like, I've got to turn this around because this is not ending up good for me. And it's a proven fact that your emotions, mentally, whatever you're feeling inside, those types of things will eventually affect your body physically. Absolutely, it will.
Yep.
So you got to be careful with that.
Well, it's happened with me several times. I give so much to some people just for them to not do anything back in return. And, it makes me tired.
It's exhausting.
It's very exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying don't try to love people. I'm not saying there isn't people that you give unconditional love to, but we have to understand that there are those types, like we just read, common myths that people think, like an abusive situation, that they have to stay in them.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Yeah.
Boundaries are important.
Yeah. It's important to not let somebody else's toxicity influence you to think the more good I do for this person, the more they're going to realize how much they can give. No. You take what you get, in the sense of, like, if I do something nice for you and you don't do anything nice for me, then where's the obligation to continue doing good for that person?
Mm-hmm.
And again, it goes back into the original statement that I keep making. Complacency with evil should not be tolerated.
Right. Right. And we've been taught, Brian, because we were raised in the church, right?
Huh. There must have been something in that message that YouTube didn't like.
Really?
Yeah, because on my screen it says message restricted. Retracted.
I don't know. Okay. So I'll say this because we talked a little bit about forgiveness, is that I know in the church, for you and I'm speaking for you and I only, is that they often talk about forgiveness. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but there has to be boundaries to that forgiveness. And it's forgetting, it's about forgiving for yourself too.
I think forgiveness is something that's earned.
Oh, wow.
I don't think it's something you should just do naturally. I genuinely do think that forgiveness needs to be earned. It's like respect. Respect is earned, not given. Forgiveness is earned, not given.
Wow.
And I think that all starts with the accountability thing. I am a firm believer in accountability. If you do not own up to the bad things you did and actually make some kind of an effort to change so you don't do it again, I don't think you're deserving of it.
Wow.
Because that forces accountability.
Yeah.
It forces it. Because if you keep doing bad things and people keep just forgiving you, it's going to enable you to keep doing it. It doesn't help. What is helping me in doing something wrong? And because I know we've talked about this on other episodes in regards to, like, the prison system. But if somebody steals, $200,000 from a bank and all they get is a slap on the wrist every time they do it, before you know it, they're going to be having so much money in their own account that they're just going to not care anymore.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, I know that genuinely doesn't happen. Obviously, somebody does go to jail for that at some point, but it's just an example.
Mm-hmm.
But if you slap down the iron rod the first time they do it and make them have accountability for what they did and actually dish out some kind of a punishment, they're probably not going to do it again, or at least not be as bold about it.
Right. Yeah. And Aunt Sandra said, it's been my experience in the church, when we forgive, it means accepting bad and harmful behaviors. So wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's
That's what I'm saying too.
Yeah.
It enables bad behavior.
Enabling. That's the thing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Forgive, but do not forget. I think that's important, you know. And again, all of these are fine lines, right? They're all very personal experiences. So for me to say to you, Brian, you should forgive that person for what they did to you. Well, that has to come in your time through your journey.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because I don't know really where you're at with that. Like when those situations came for me with mom and dad when they were lost, a lot of people said to me, "Well, you need to let it go and move on." Well, you ain't living my life, friend.
Mhm.
You know, until it really took me to a very dark place, that's when I finally said, "Okay, enough." And I think that comes with all these other things that we're talking about. They are personal experiences that
Yeah.
when you finally say you've had enough.
And that's why I don't really necessarily put it all under a blanket of like, just forgive and forget. You know, everyone is deserving of love. No, there are conditions that have to be met in order for those things to be put into place. Again, the
Mhm.
big thing is accountability. You
Mhm.
know, I had one of my friends recently have a pretty bad experience with another friend, and it's ironic how the person that did wrong said, you know, I'm sorry, you don't deserve that, but they made no effort to fix it.
Mhm.
No effort. Yeah, they said the words, I'm sorry, but they didn't do anything beyond that. In
Right.
fact, they started calling my friend out for things they did bad. And it's
Mm.
like, since when was this about them and not you?
You. Right. Right. Exactly.
No accountability.
Yeah.
I think forgiveness and accountability or forgiveness and forgetting work hand in hand with accountability.
Yes, all of it. And you see so much of that today not happening in our world. And look at the mess we are in.
And boy, do I wish I could go into detail about it.
And that's why I said to you, I want you to be an asset in life, not an ass in life.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I've done well. I know I've probably made some mistakes, but you didn't come with a manual, friend. I wish you would have. But, and like you said, maybe it was a parenting thing. I don't know.
I would say genuinely, a lot of the issues that we currently have in life are, at least in current day, I think a lot of it is just really, really, really bad parenting.
I know.
Do I like saying that? No. I'm just saying, what else could it be? Nobody was born evil.
Mhm.
Something had to have happened along the way, you know?
Yeah. Mhm.
And I'm not necessarily saying it was a parenting thing all the way up until they were adult, but something happens in a person's life that brings them to a point where evil becomes acceptable. And to me, that should not be acceptable.
Mhm.
This is why I'm very strict with like people doing wrong things in my life. You mess up once, if I have to warn you twice, you're out. Sorry.
Mhm. I know. There's nothing wrong with that,
Yep.
you know?
And I don't understand why in today's world we have just not only the lack of accountability, but the lack of responsibility. Like for me, if I was a judge and somebody was being tried for something, you know, think of anything really tragic. Again, I don't know what the extent of the TOS is on YouTube, but just bear with me. Think of something really bad. Okay. If I knew this person did something really bad intentionally, prison the rest of your life. But you know, there's people that have gone to prison for really bad things and are now walking free. And
Mhm.
a lot of times they'll do it again.
Of course they will.
Not
Why?
all, but generally speaking, they will do it again. Why is that the standard?
Mhm.
Why? Am I the crazy one? You know, and that's the thing. There's just no accountability and no responsibility.
Mhm. Mhm. I was just reading what Aunt Sandra wrote. Yeah. They're there to move us forward and it should be to move us forward in a good way. Like you said, you don't want to be the victim. You never put yourself in a victim mentality.
And I
Yes,
have reason to, but I don't.
right. But you
Because
take those bad experiences and move forward in a good way.
yes, I use my bad experiences and my traumas to better myself and to better those who have gone through similar things. But I will never on any day use my experiences to give myself an excuse to do bad things.
It does make sense. Yeah. Snow and Autumn says, I've always believed if you do something horrendous enough to ruin a life, you should have to spend yours behind bars in exchange.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I would probably go a step further.
I know you would.
Yeah, because to me, if, like you said, if you do something bad to harm a life, what gives you the right to do that? And why
Hi,
should
Caden.
and why should you be allowed to continue living? And again, I'm using really in my head.
He's told me these things. They're bad.
I'm using really bad, realistic bad examples because it helps put into context for those, because I've had these same conversations with some of my friends and groups, and some of them, when I say these things, like when I actually tell them what the bad things are, these people will genuinely look at me and say, oh no, they still deserve to live. They still deserve it. And I'm like, what about the person they hurt? Did they deserve it?
Right.
I'm talking about like physical hurt, like bad. I'm not talking about somebody saying something you don't agree with. I want to make that clear, okay? Because that seems to be a very big thing in our world today, where God forbid somebody have a differing opinion.
Oh yeah.
I'm not talking about opinions being thrown around. I'm talking about like physical.
I know what you mean.
Because to me, human life is precious.
It is.
Human life has value. And if somebody does something to forfeit their own value because they want to hurt somebody else,
no, not okay.
Why shouldn't I look at you at any less than an animal?
Exactly.
I'm just and see, that's the thing. We often think, man, that's a really harsh way of thinking about things, Brian. Why would you say that? Could you imagine how good this world would be if other people shared value with each other? Or instead of tolerating the evil that we have?
Right. Is it the lack of empathy, Brian?
For the bad people, yeah. For bad people to go around and have zero empathy for anybody, absolutely. And that's what I mean when I beat it into the message every single time on these episodes of, we have become complacent with evil, and I do not know why.
Well, like Aunt Sandra just said, consequences seem to be missing in our society. Nobody pays the dues, friend. Nobody pays them anymore. And then so you got a muck running around. Yeah. Everybody's just running around doing whatever they want at the expense of decent people.
Yep. And all you got to do is just watch some of these. Like, I watch a lot of police cam videos, and some of the things that I see literally make, and it, I don't mean to go down a rabbit trail with this, but I seen a video of this female police officer who pulled a guy over, right? And he was very aggressive with her, right? And you know what the guy cop did? And this isn't their fault, okay? Because there was clarification after this episode of why it happened the way it happened.
Okay.
But the female officer got hurt because of this guy that they pulled over, and the male cop that was with her only stunned him with his stun gun, right? After it was done, the grandparents of that female cop, because I think she was like in her early mid-20s, the grandparents were like, why didn't you unalive this guy? And the cop said, oh, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't do any harm to them beyond trying to detain him. And you know what happened? She got really, really hurt because of this guy.
Wow.
To me, if that was my wife or my daughter, you're going to sit here and tell me that I just have to be complacent with that?
Yeah, there's no justice.
There is no justice.
Nope.
I've watched some pretty crazy stuff in our world, and it's like, they expect, it's like on the one hand, you want to love everybody. You really do. You want to be loving and accepting. And then there are these wicked people in the world that are completely contrary to your idea of a perfect society. And it's like, why do they get to walk free?
I know. I don't know. Somewhere along the way, their lack of love was not given. They just, yeah. And Maine Mickey said, and it starts young. Yeah, it seems like it's starting younger and younger all the time.
Yeah, the younger generation. And I know because I am a gamer and I spend a lot of time around younger individuals because of it. And I'm going to tell you, the younger generations that are coming up, we thought we were bad.
Oh God, don't tell me that.
I genuinely fear for the next generations to grow up.
Wow.
And you know who I blame? I don't blame them. I blame their parents. I blame the parents 100%. So I say that anyone watching this who either wants to become a parent or is a parent, if it's not too late, teach your kids accountability, love, and respect. But also teach them that there are consequences to bad actions and give them that. Right. Because I guarantee you, if you become a soft parent, they will not grow up the way you want them to. Oh. I am genuinely afraid for our next generations. I don't want to say that, but again, being a gamer, I've the things I've heard these younger people say, it makes me wonder, are the parents even around? And that's part of the problem is no, some of them aren't.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that was part of what we talked about last week.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get into this week.
Yeah, we're just starting, by the way. This was the intro. I hope you're, if you want to get some popcorn, now is the chance.
Get some popcorn and a drink because we're going further with this. So in today's podcast, we're going to discuss acceptance, approval, and affirmation through love. And love has been a big subject of ours lately because we honestly believe, Brian, even though love does have boundaries and, there's multitude of things with that, love, unconditional love, those types of things. The part of the acceptance, approval, and affirmation that we're going to talk about tonight, I want to look at it from a good point and a bad point because there is both. So first, we're going to start with this.
Right.
Love is not punished around by habit, fear, anxiety, social customs, and other people's ideas about what is good for you or who you should be. Love is experienced, relational. It is not conditional through works. So you don't have to work. You should not have to work for love.
Right.
Right. And love is experience. It's relational. It's having relationships with people. And you should not have to change to fit into a group. And you've said that before, Brian, that you change for no one. And I love that because you shouldn't have to devalue yourself to fit in with a group of people just to have acceptance.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I tell my students all the time that I love them, because maybe they've never had that, but I do. And I want them to feel that they don't have to change themselves in order to fit in. I want them to be who they are because that's what makes them unique.
Yeah.
Am I making sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to keep going. So we often say that we are all on a journey. Your journey is a revelation of who you are. It's your identity. Our identity does not need to come from acceptance, approval, and affirmation of others. We are not clones. We talked about that today, didn't we? We need to acknowledge our worth. I'm going to say that again. We need to acknowledge our worth instead of being owed that worth.
It's true.
You already have the worth.
Yeah.
You just have to realize what it is because you are already worthy. You don't have to go looking for that or be somebody you're not because you feel like if they accept you and now you're owed that, you have to change to be that person.
Well, it's like somebody who can go through, let's say, a breakup, and they can sit there and say, "Why did this person break up with me? I must not be good enough." No, you were, but the other person that dumped you, they never saw your value.
You already have it. That's what people don't understand. And I want people to know is that you already have that worth.
Yeah.
You're valued already.
Yeah. You already have that value that makes you unique. There are no two of you on this planet.
Thank God.
Yeah, could you imagine two of me?
No.
But yeah, it's the whole reason that you are unique as an individual. There is no one like you. And
I love that.
to have this idea of self-worth being, by your own admission, worthless, you're already devaluing yourself at that point, and completely it's like a gold bar that falls in the mud. Gets covered with mud and all that beauty is hidden.
Yeah.
But then all it takes is for the right person to come along and pick it up and clean all that mud off, and revealing the value that was there the whole time.
Yeah. I love that. You already have it, friend. We often try to find our identity through others by gaining their acceptance, approval, and affirmation. Relationships are not about what you do, but about who you are with each other. Like you said about somebody breaking up with somebody. So I want to talk about the definitions of acceptance, approval, and affirmation, and the good and the bad part of it. So acceptance is the action or process of being received as adequate or suitable, typically to be admitted into a group. Now, that can be a good thing. If not saying it doesn't happen, and it can be a good thing, but it can be a bad thing too if you're trying to change to fit in. That's when it's not a good thing.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to do that. Right. You shouldn't. Why change yourself for the acceptance of other people?
It's not going to last.
Well, it's in vain. Like, number one, you're being fake. And number two,
right,
it's knowing that if the person knew who you really were,
would they still accept
they still accept you? No, so everything you're doing is completely in vain. Stop it.
Right. If you can be accepted for who you are, which you should be, that's the good part.
Yeah.
Just be you.
Just be you. That's how I lived my life. I didn't care who liked me or hated me because I didn't live my life for anyone else.
Right.
But I always took it upon myself to be that shoulder to cry on for people. But I never based my value off of that.
Right.
Because I already knew what I was worth.
I love that. Approval is the feeling that somebody or something is good or acceptable. A positive opinion of somebody or something. Now, obviously, approval is a good thing. And we always want to, make people proud of us. But again, if you're trying to get approval just because you want to fit in or because you feel you have to live up to somebody's expectations, that's when it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to add anything before I move on?
No.
Okay. Affirmation, the assertion that something exists or is true. Now, with this one, this one can kind of be a thing that it can be an outside source. So I can say to you, Brian, an assertion or an affirmation that I could give you is I could say to you, Brian, you know what? You're a good kid. I'm proud of you. You're smart. You have integrity. You try to do and that type of thing. But the other way that it can be bad is that in your own head, you could think to yourself, I'm really not that smart. I'm not as important as my mom really thinks I am. So what am I trying to say in that? Your affirmation can not only come from other people, but it can come from yourself. And your worst enemy is you, my friend.
Yeah.
Because you can tell yourself a lot of things that are not true.
Yeah. You can be your own worst enemy.
And that's when it's not good. So There are many different levels to relationship because there are different people. And we've talked about different levels of love, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to talk about for a minute of things to look for in relationships. So first, let's talk about motive. So 2 things I want to talk about with motive, Brian, is number 1, ulterior. Go.
So you're talking about the motive that I have for being with
Well,
somebody?
No, I want you to talk about just why do people have to, when they come into a relationship, why do they have to look at a motive? Why is that important?
I guess I would need you to define what motive is.
Okay, motive would be
like what like, are you asking like what is the goal?
Yeah, like is there an ulterior motive or sincere motive or like?
Because for me,
Okay.
Relationship with a partner, it's not just, to me, how do I explain it? I guess the best way to describe romance for me, it's not obligation of receiving anything. It's a duty. It's an honor. It's a privilege that somebody would choose me. So I want to give them the love, honor, and integrity that they deserve. I have no ulterior motive. I have no need of acceptance from myself as enough. Because to me, I don't view it as I deserve it. It's more of I'm honored to have you in my life.
Wow. So you would say that your motive is sincere.
Yeah. I don't need anything but you except your acceptance.
Right.
Because to me, like I said, romance to me, it's an obligation. It's a duty.
Mm-hmm.
It's an honor. It's something that when I get when I have a partner and, that person chooses me over anybody, it's like, wow, this person chose me.
That's awesome, Brian.
I go beyond looks. I go beyond even to some extent personality. But the best way I can describe it is the last relationship I was in. The first thing that stuck out to me with her was not her personality, even though of course that was a big part of it. I'd say personality is number 2, but the first thing that stuck out to me were her eyes.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
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 I saw passion,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the eyes to me are the biggest thing. If I can look into your eyes and make eye contact with you and I see we have a connection, that's what I value. I go, oh, she's the one.
Mirror to the soul.
Yeah.
I like that. And I think that's important, Brian, because now you're dealing with a deeper part of a person. So one of my students asked me the other day, they said, they were looking at pictures on their phone and they asked me and I'm not going to mention the person of the picture they showed me, but they said, what do you think of this person? And I said, do you really want me to tell you the truth? Now, this person is a TV celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, do you really want me to tell you? And they're like, yeah. And I said, I think she's ugly. And they're like, really? She's beautiful. I said, unfortunately, you're only looking at the outside. I said, the thing is this, you can be very beautiful on the outside, but if your inside isn't beautiful, then I don't care what your outside looks like. You are ugly no matter what. And like you just said, and that's what, that thought came to my mind, was that you don't really look at how a person looks. And I love that about you, Brian, because you know what? You can be a person that looks very unattractive, but you know what? Everything else about you can be so beautiful. And I think that that's where a lot of the world lacks today, is they look at the outside of a person. You know what I mean?
It's very vain.
It's very vain. People are so
Shallow.
into themselves. It's so shallow. Because you know what? 3 years from now, a month from now, that person could look totally different. What happens now when they're ugly on the outside? Well, now they're ugly on the outside and the inside, friend. If you don't fix yourself on the inside, I don't care how you look on the outside. To me, you're just ugly. Because you can be mean, but be the most beautiful person on the outside.
Usually the people that look really good physically are the ones that are the most shallow.
They are. No personality at all. Yeah.
Friend of mine learned that the hard way. She was really into gym guys. So she finally scored one.
Oh, good.
And you know what?
Yeah.
She said it was the worst thing she ever did.
Oh, really? Why was he into himself? Now
Is that a trick question? They all are.
Yeah. And listen, I don't have a problem. So don't get me wrong. Okay. I don't have a problem with people physically trying to take care of themselves. Okay. You shouldn't let yourself go. That's not what I'm saying. You want to go to the gym, go to the gym. You want to eat healthy? We do. Right?
I'm talking about the
we
guys
work out, we eat healthy, we take care of ourselves. That is not what I'm talking about.
I want to clarify. I'm not talking about just people that go to the gym in general. I'm talking about these guys that do nothing but go to the gym. You know?
Yeah, fix your attitude.
Yeah, just you know the guys I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the casual husband that goes to the gym every day and works out for 4 hours and then goes home. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about the guy like me who, would go to work all day and then go to the gym for a few hours and then come home. I'm not talking about those kind of people. I'm talking about the meatheads who go in there all day and they just stay at the gym all day.
And stand in front of the mirror and take selfies of themselves.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. You're vain.
You're vain. Get over yourself. Move on. Try to be try to find something more in your life than the mirror you're looking at.
Yeah, because by the time you're 80, that body ain't going to mean anything.
That's what I'm trying to say. At some point, your outside is going to change. Is that person still going to love you? I don't know. People often say to me, one thing they like about me, and I'm not like being all haughty about it, is they love my personality. And I'll say, well, good, because it's the only thing I've got going for me. Jokingly, right? Okay. But just get over yourself. You're not all that. Maybe no one's told you that, and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now things to look for in a relationship is priority. And when I say priority, I mean like someone else's well-being. You know what I mean? Yes, we always say you are the most important person in your life, and you are. But when you're with somebody or you just have a relationship with someone else, whether, I have relationship with family members and other people, is this, their well-being means a lot to me.
Yeah.
So that's one thing you should look at. Cultivating. I like this one. Now, things to look for in a relationship. So I know not everybody clicks. There's some people you can really feel attached to that it's like you've known each other forever and you've only been together 10 minutes. I understand that. Then there's somebody that drains the energy out of you that you can't even be around them 10 minutes because you feel like they are sucking your soul out of you.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I say cultivating, try to find people in relationships that you can put around you that, again, whatever you want to look for physically, that's a you thing. I'm not big into that. But I'm talking about people who will cultivate your spirit and your soul. Because really, that's the important thing, right? Is cultivating your spirit and your soul.
Yeah. Because to me, it's also kind of going along with that. When you have somebody that you're in a relationship with, right? It's no longer about me. It's about them.
Right.
And I expect that person to think the same way. Mm-hmm. Because it's almost like they handle my needs themselves and I handle their needs.
Right.
Instead of it being I handle my needs. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say it's like a duty.
I like that. Yeah.
We hold each other up.
Exactly. Like your needs come before mine, even though I know in my life I'm still important, but you're important too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also genuine relationships and with purity, meaning this, You want to look for relationships where they have your genuine, how would you say it? Not interests, well-being, I guess we'll use that in mind, right? You don't want somebody that's going to control you. You want them to be looking after your best interests.
Yeah.
So, those are just some things that you should look for in relationships. And that they don't have this type of elitist mentality that you owe them that relationship because of who they are. You know what I mean? Like I had a friend like that one time that made me feel like she was better than me. She knew more than I did. And I should be happy that I was her friend because she was so wonderful. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the problem is when people try to change us through their personal convictions and beliefs. That's projection. And we've talked about that before.
Yep.
It should be based on genuine relationship because relationship is more important than beliefs.
Ain't that funny?
And we've talked about that a lot, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else you want to add?
Nope, not to that.
Oh, not to that. Okay. I'm going to end this with it was a saying that I found. I don't know who, there's something wrong with my mic here. I could hear a humming. I think that fixed it. I don't know who this is from, but I found this and it says, this is kind of wrapping it up. But
I do. Now that you mention it, I thought I heard something too. So I apologize
if there was a humming because I could hear
if it came in through the video because I was hearing something.
Mm-hmm. Do you hear it now?
Nope, I don't.
I don't hear it anymore. Okay, fixed it.
So yeah, apologies.
Yeah, hopefully it's not on the video. I don't know.
If it is, I'm sorry.
Right.
I don't know what. I don't know. That's why I was looking around. I was
know.
like,
I kept looking at you like, do something. Okay, so this is, like I said, I found this and I loved it. I'm not really 100% sure who wrote it, but it kind of wraps. No, it wasn't coming through from. Okay, good.
Yeah, that was weird.
It
was decently loud.
Yeah, it must have been just between you and I.
Yeah, I don't hear it now.
Okay.
Okay.
But if you want to comment after I read this, that this kind of summarizes the whole kit and caboodle of everything that we've talked about today.
Mm-hmm.
Stop shape-shifting for people who can't see you. Other people don't see you. They see their unhealed lens. That's projection. So every time you shrink yourself to fit their perception, you're abandoning the very part of you that came here to stand out. People-pleasing is a survival pattern, not your identity. Authenticity doesn't guarantee approval, it guarantees freedom. When you choose to be real, the fake ones naturally fall away. When you choose truth, resonance, I'm going to say that that's what that word is, replaces validation. When you choose your soul, your people will find you. And there's another part to this. Return to yourself. Stop outsourcing your worth to people who can't even see their own. Be unique. Be you.
Yeah. And that's kind of like why I really emphasize the point in this episode, and especially at the beginning of like, stop being complacent with evil. Like, know that there's worth to yourself to the point where you don't have to tolerate it. You don't have to put yourself in a bad situation where your value is limited because of another bad actor's intentions or thoughts or processes. You know, whether it's relationship, friendship, whatever the case may be, you have the responsibility to uphold the values that make life precious. So stop allowing yourself to be tolerant of wickedness and put yourself in a position of knowing your own worth and also measuring the worth of others based on how they treat others and themselves and
Right.
you.
Right. Right. Believe that you are unique. Believe that you are worthy. And if you want to look at it from acceptance, approval, and affirmation, give yourself that even when others don't.
I would say it always starts with you.
You don't have to get acceptance and approval and affirmation to be yourself through others, because they've already got their own issues.
Yeah.
And you're not them.
You said they have their own issues, and I guarantee you from their perspective, you are not one of them.
Oh, wow. So they're just making you their problem.
I would say they could probably use you as a source to get rid of their own problems or make them forget their own problems. Kind of using you like a battery.
Oh, that's awful.
That's why I have no tolerance for bad people.
Suck the life out of you.
These vampires.
Brian. Okay, I'm good. If you have anything else you want to add, or if anybody else wants to say anything before we wrap this up.
Well, I'd say we can give it maybe another minute if anybody
Okay.
has anything in the comments they want to ask or say.
Yeah, that's fine.
Other than that, I'm good. I think we could wrap it up after another minute.
Okay. And I'm glad you guys didn't hear that humming, because
yeah, that
was a little
loud.
That was a little annoying. I don't know what that was, but
I'm just glad it didn't come through.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's very important that anybody that upholds the honor and integrity of themselves should definitely uphold that same value to others, even if it's subconsciously. Like, you don't even have to tell the other person, you're being selfish, you're being ignorant. I don't have to tell anybody anything. What I can do is worry about myself. Because if I focus on others before myself, then how am I expected to change anybody if I can't even get my own head on straight?
Right. Well, and why would you change other people? It's none of your business.
Yeah.
Work out your own problems.
Exactly. Well, no one has said anything. I'll say we'll give it another minute.
Okay.
Just so we're considerate. I don't want to.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
I don't want to cut somebody off if they're in the middle of a sentence.
So before we go, though, I will read our quote that I always read at the end, which is: believe in yourself, be patient with yourself, and know that your best is always good enough. Know that we can be found on many different platforms like YouTube, Spotify, X, and Apple. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on any notifications. You can email us at giveemheck@gmail.com. And now we do have a Facebook page called Give 'em Heck Podcast. Also, we do have a TikTok at Give 'em Heck Official, which we did put a TikTok on right before tonight's episode. So
I'll put I don't think I posted the link to it in the description of this video, but it should be in another.
Yeah, you wouldn't have done that.
I wouldn't have done that. But either way, you post our TikToks on Facebook, don't you?
I do not. But you can go back on there tonight if you want to.
I could.
It'll give you something to do. Just kidding.
Yeah, because I don't have enough.
Yeah, right. Oh, Maine Mickey left us a heart. I love that. I love all of you guys for coming on tonight and sharing. I hope this does help. I know it does help us. We talk a lot.
I don't go in with the intention of, how do I say it? It's kind of like my debates. I don't go in with the intention of changing anybody's mind. I go in with the intention of pointing out the flaws and then letting them spread out like seeds. Thoughts will hit somebody.
Oh yeah, we're not going to reach everybody.
Yeah.
But you know what? The ones we do, that's the important thing.
Yeah. Even if it reaches one person, it's worth it.
Well, yeah. And even if we're helping people in some way, Oh, sorry. We love you guys. Your podcast will always move me. You guys, this is wonderful. I love it. I really do hope it helps you guys, because I know it's really helped us a lot. And we might not always agree. We don't always agree, and that's okay.
I'd say if you can get a general idea of what at least we're both talking about, it helps. Because like I said, with the throwing around of opinions. Everybody has an opinion,
Yeah, and that's okay.
and that's okay.
Yeah, you don't have to.
If anything, I encourage people to share their opinions, even if I completely disagree with them, because you know why? They come from a human being with thoughts and emotions.
Yep. Exactly.
If anything, if I hear somebody that has a differing opinion than me, I want to figure out why they believe what they believe.
Exactly. Well, that's what we do, right? We grow off each other. We help each other. We build each other. That's what we should be doing. There's enough tearing down. I'm sick of that.
Yeah.
That's enough. So don't go yet.
Oh, I'm leaving. I'm ending it.
I want to see one more thing here before I go. But I don't know if I can find it. And if I can't, it's okay. Oh, that's too bad. Don't move, Brian. Just give me one more moment. Oh, I think I've seen it. Is that it? I wanted to throw this out to all of our friends tonight. Here we go. Ready? And yeah, sharing of information is always helpful. I appreciate that. And like I said, you guys don't always have to agree, but we're glad you're here to share. And we love to hear from you guys too.
Absolutely. So we'll, are we having one next weekend?
We are going to have one next weekend on Saturday night, but it won't be live.
It'll be just
a regular video.
All right. Well, then I'm excited for you guys to see that episode. I'm excited to know about it.
You'll know soon enough.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.